words of Kalamji reminded us and emphasized on the need for passionate, energized, motivated, and committed faculty members. Faculty members who are communicating, teaching values, core subjects, ideas, philosophy, and finally making students ready not only for the industry, but also for life. I have often been talking about one of the reports of World Economic Forum, which was actually funded by World Economic Forum, but conducted by McKinsey. It says that calls for individuals and organizations alike to invest in learning and development has never been more insistent. It says that by the end of this decade, more than 1 billion jobs would be transformed by technology. So when we have this type of challenges, what is it which it calls for? It calls for sharpening the saw. And in our teaching learning profession, it is understanding our core subjects. It is inventing our pedagogies and adapting to the pedagogy, which is the need of the hour, and more so when all our teaching learning aids, all our teaching learning equipments have changed from wikis to data from interconnected worlds, all our simulators, and even the labs, virtual labs, this blended, or if I may say even that this online teaching learning process, it would invite us, it would ask us that we need to invest not only in the core subjects, not only in the knowledge of our core competency, but also on the pedagogy. In a multidisciplinary approach where subjects from varied disciplines, subjects from very, very conflicting disciplines would need to be converged to make sure that we are able to solve a specific problem or we are able to address the challenges of the futuristic world. Along with it, pedagogies, what way would we ensure that teaching happens, this teaching learning process happens in an online virtual world effectively, ensuring that each and every student who is attending the class, even in an online mode, is able to understand the subjects and apply them in real life situations. And then again, when we talk about that students would no longer only be the mere recipient, so that attitudinal change where we accept students to be equal partners in knowledge economy, we understand that our learning would no longer be unidirectional. It not only be bidirectional, but it would in fact be multi-directional, where every individual would be contributing, making it a more comprehensive, making it a more holistic knowledge economy creation. Other than it, now it comes to evaluation reforms. What kind of assessments to take place? What kind of examination reforms have to assess the students when we say that learning would be self-paced, learning would be self-timed, and learning would be at one's own will, wish. So, and then when everything is available online, everything is available through Google, wikis, and everything, then what kind of role our teachers would play as facilitators, as enablers, as guides, as mentors? So these are ATAL teaching learning academies. They are focusing on every aspect, core competencies in emerging areas, pedagogical approaches, attitudinal adaptabilities, and examination reforms to ensure that the students are absolutely ready, not for the industry, not for the entrepreneurial mindset, not for the enterprising aspect, but also for life. I request all our coordinators, all the attendees, all our teachers who are attending these programs to take them very, very seriously and get maximum whatever they can get for it. See, I always believe, and national education policy has been very, very specific, that we need to have the best possible teachers. We need to have teachers who are committed, who are competent, who are motivated, who are energized. So with this purpose, once again, I welcome all of you and I request all of you to take these faculty development programs very, very seriously. We at AICTE are fully committed to ensure our well-being together, our preparedness together, our commitment to teaching, learning, and this process together. Thank you so very much. Now I would request Dr. Ibrahim, who is the Director of Machine Intelligence Research Labs, a not-for-profit scientific network for innovation and research excellence, connecting industry and academia, to address this August gathering. Thank you so much.
A very good morning to all of you. Am I audible very well?
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Thank you. So it is indeed a great pleasure for me to be in this gathering, and I would like to first thank the team for thinking about me, and I would like to congratulate the entire ATAL Academy team for this wonderful program. It is really massive, and it is very impressive to visualize how all these various FDPs will be implemented in the coming months. So let me make it short and sharp. So currently we are going through what we call as a revolution, or in IT terms, we call it as digital transformation, or in industrial terms, we call it as the fourth industrial revolution, where we see various technologies are playing a very big role in various aspects of our daily life. For example, if you look at e-commerce itself, like in the past, we look at, for example, big companies having a lot of assets, as like we call them as big companies. But the way Facebook, Google, Microsoft, or even Apple, how they evolved over time, it's very difficult for us to imagine how the future is going to be. Today, we have the biggest taxi company owning 0 taxis, Uber. We have the biggest hotel chain, for example, Airbnb, doesn't own a single hotel. So we can imagine the way technologies are playing a big role in various aspects of the society. Education itself, I guess, probably 20 years ago, I guess if you want to get quality education, we need to go to university. But today, thanks to online education, and especially during the last couple of years, COVID-19 has taught us education in a very different way. Actually, people learned to do many different things staying from home. So all these are taking us like in a very different level. Today, even a housewife can do quality research, as he or she will do in an IIT from her own kitchen, thanks to cloud computing, edge computing, all these various computational frameworks. So basically, we have all these technological frameworks, and even much more if you look at environmental aspects. We can actually have long-term, short-term predictions of various natural catastrophes. We are looking at war fighting without people. We are looking at a lot of applications in medical imaging, where certain applications have even surpassed the capabilities of a doctor. For example, if you look at a mammogram, a doctor can understand only 256 colors. But imagine if you are looking at a mammogram using 65,000 colors using different profiles. And basically, you can even predict that this particular patient is going to have breast cancer in this many months or this many years. So AI and data science has taken us, like in a totally new level. And it is very difficult for us to imagine how the future is going to be. And I think as an academic, it is very difficult for us to keep track of all these various developments. And I strongly believe that FDPs are very important to train the faculty from various disciplines to keep track of the various happenings in the different pockets of the community. And as the saying goes, I guess this is, I don't know, I'm not really sure whether it is Dr. Kalam's dialogue, that is an academic is more like a candle who consumes himself and provide light to the students. And for me, it is more like a step ahead. It is not only classroom, but we are also providing light to the community. So many of us think that our job is only teaching and giving some lectures, and end of the day we go back and then come back next day and continue the same format. But we should also think about the community. So I think for that we need to get into the latest technologies, get our get the fuel, the best fuel we can, so that we can provide the best light to the students. And in terms of research, it is very important to do research at the same time, because only when you do research, we are able to study the latest technologies and able to understand much in depth. And research itself will have value if it has practical applications, or it has much importance in the community. So together, it makes a big difference when research is applied in the community or in society. It makes a very, very big impact, and it makes a very big difference too in terms of many aspects. The quality of life of the city or the society or the country, etc., can change with some innovative ideas. So like I mentioned earlier, like Uber, Airbnb, you can see several like simple applications where all we need is good ideas, some analytics, and getting the best decisions. So we have all these technologies, various capabilities. So we need the youngsters to take this forward, and for that we also need, I would say, collaboration with the industry, because if academia we try to do things alone in pockets, we might miss the big picture. So we also need to collaborate with industry so that we can actually understand what is required in the community and what are the current problems, the real world problems, so that we can focus on that and produce real world solutions, and also tailor some research towards that direction. So actually, it benefits both parties. It benefits the industry as well as the community. At the same time, it benefits academia. Basically, you can transform some of those research, some of those application-based research to nice quality publications, which can in turn, put the university or the state or even the country in the map of research. Because nowadays everything goes by metrics. For example, there are several rankings for various universities or even for countries. So basically, all this matrices helps us to get the country in the global map. So I guess with that, I will conclude my short talk. I wish all the best for the ATAL Academy FDP programs. I wish all the best. And I guess the program won't benefit unless the attendees would utilize, I guess, focus on what exactly you want and try to learn from those lectures and make full use of it. Thank you very much. Take care. Stay safe.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Abraham, for sharing your talks on shared economy, whether we talk of Uber or we talk of Airbnb, or maybe the banks which don't really own any branches and still are Paytm and all others. I just forgot to mention that Dr. Abraham has more than 45,500 plus academic citations, and his H index of Google as a Google scholar is 100. So I think that really deserves a huge applause for him. Thank you so very much for your time, Dr.
Thank you so much.
Now I would invite our Professor Sandeep Sanchez, who is the chief guest of today's inaugural session, Vice Chancellor at Marwari University, past President of Association of Indian University, past Vice Chancellor of SRM Institute of Science and Technology, Chennai. He has also worked as Director of NIT Surathkal, NIT, and had been a Director in charge at NIT Trichy, Calicut, and SPA Delhi. He has been a member of court and councils, also served on many professional bodies. He has been member of 12th Plan Preparation Committee of MHRD. He's a keen player of bridge and squash. He's also an active member of Rotary International and few other social organizations. I welcome you, Professor Sancheti. Kindly address the August Gathering.
Thank you, Professor Mamta Rani Agrawal, Advisor AICTE, for this nice introduction and also the invitation to the ATAL FDP launch for the 2022. To be very precise, we are launching 23 FDPs today, so very happy occasion. Thank you for this invitation. Thanks to Mr. Professor Dr. Das for this invitation and the entire team of organizers of ATAL FDPs who are here in numbers for this opportunity. I'm very happy to be part of this because I've been associated with the professional activities for engineering education particularly, but in general, the entire set of education throughout the country for many years. I've helped them in many capacities, and I was fortunate to have worked with AICTE also in different capacities. Thank Professor Sribude and Professor Punia and Professor Rajiv Kumar also for launching this kind of ATAL FDP series, which is, I believe, is very defining, very important, and very kind of change maker in terms of the domain of teaching learning. I think this must be one of the iconic activities AICTE is doing in this domain right now. As Dr. Agrawal was saying, the impact is very large. Today, we are seeing something like 23 institutions with around, let's say, 200 participation from each, or maybe 100 participation. So obviously the numbers multiply with the teachers, and then each teacher, let's say, multiplied by another 20 students or 30 students, it can go into thousands, and that's the impact of ATAL FDP. So I congratulate AICTE and all the people who are involved in this. I've been given 10 to 15 minutes, I believe, and I'd like to share my thoughts, which would supplement what has been said by Dr. Agrawal as well as by Abraham ji just now, Dr. Abraham, who was addressing us with his message. And I'll give my message mostly in three parts for a given context so that you understand it. Probably much of explanation will not be required because I'm addressing all my fellow colleagues, teachers. They may be young, but there may be many of them who are senior. So one thing I'd like to make a mention here that we all are going through a 180-degree phase shift in many things in our lives. I need not quote all that, but I should make you clear through some of the examples which are required in the current context. If I take, first of all, teaching learning, I would like to say that the earlier focus used to be heavily on teaching. The new focus has to be on learning. May not be 180 degrees, does not matter, but the focus is shifting in different direction, and that's why I referred it 180 degrees. When I became a teacher, the focus was, the second point, the focus was to cover the syllabus. Now the focus should be on uncover the syllabus. Why am I teaching that subject? What is its importance? Where is it relevant? How is it going to be connected with my future and my past, or whatever it may be? I think if you can teach that, a student will be taking that subject very well. It's something like introducing a novel very well, then you get to read it very fast and very easily, and you enjoy it too. So that's another change of 180 degrees. The third change of 180 degrees is about the teacher himself. If I say that a teacher is a mentor and a counselor and researcher and facilitator and various other things you can say, entrepreneur and innovator, researcher, everything is fine. Madam also just now conveyed those points, which are fine. But may I be allowed to say that a teacher has to be a student? Otherwise, a teacher will not remain to be a teacher in future. That's the risk a teacher will run. And therefore, a teacher has to go through a 180-degree phase shift of his work. And that teacher also has to be a student. And these are the important things which I would say we have to keep in mind. So is the case with the adoption of technology in education. It was very poor. You can say 10%, 20%. I do not know. Someone can say 30, 40%. But today, it has to be almost 100%. We used to kill those students who will carry mobile by mistake or laptop by mistake in class, punish them heavily. And today, we are pleading them. That's a 180-degree phase shift. Again, come to another example to convince you on that. As I said, amongst teaching learning, learning is the new focus. So if I take learning as a pure example, there are again three things. You used to learn, number one, but today you need to unlearn, number two, and number three, you need to relearn. And to learn, relearn, unlearn, ATAL Academy is very important. ATAL FDP is very important. And this is a boon. Friends, some of us, those who are seniors here, probably were not so fortunate to get blessings of our seniors or advice or the learnings from our seniors easily. For years, we used to wait in queue and keep applying through some of the common application processes without much of success, and many times even if we succeed we'll not get reservations to move to those institutions, or maybe will not get the accommodation and so on and so forth. So there were lots of challenges. I struggled for first 4 years to get my first FDP when I started as a teacher, and I must tell you that that was in IIT Kharagpur, and that made a change in my life as a teacher once I learned through that first FDP that how a teaching can be and how different it can be and how a teacher has to act, react, and behave and so on and so forth. And therefore, please remember, those three things will keep coming. If I say today that we are all the people working in the domain of knowledge. Knowledge is the era or the century or whatever you can possibly say. So for knowledge, there are three things. Number one, there has to be a source of knowledge. Number two, there has to be a drain of knowledge. And once again, number three, there has to be a channel of the knowledge. The source of the knowledge obviously would be research or whatever the books or our findings of earlier times are all there, and we make use of that. Teachers are well known for that. But when it comes to drains, obviously we can say the learners, don't take them as drains, but consumers basically. They are purely mainly the students who are there. But the channel or carrier is AICTE. Channel or carrier is ATAL FDP. Channel or carrier is we all who are sitting here together right now. And we need to make the channel efficient. In most cases, the source and drain can be very well defined. But if the channel is leaky or is not functioning very well, then probably the purpose of doing this may be sometimes getting diluted. And that should not happen. And that's why I'm making an emphasis that while you are doing the FDPs here, doing anything in anything called classroom activity, make sure that it is done with all sincerity, attendance, and interest, and probably availability. I do mentor or help some of them, or I participated or lectured in some of these FDPs. I sometimes find that the attendance is not necessarily very serious. This is a feedback I'm giving to all my participants directly so that they take note of it. Please make sure that these things, if you give enough time, make your own notes, understand in your own way, will act as a catalyst for rest of your life in doing what you are doing. But neglecting them right now, just for doing it for sake of it, probably will not yield much of result, except for a false satisfaction that you've tried something. It's not good. Why I'm saying that is, once again, there are three things in which a teacher is supposed to work. And that is number one, a teacher should disseminate knowledge. Teachers should assimilate knowledge, and teachers should generate knowledge. Now, generation has been very poor. Assimilation and dissemination is happening either through publishers or books or notes or FDPs or whatever, but generation of knowledge is what we need to work. And that is nothing but research. And fortunately for us, NEP has focused on that. There is a lot of mandate for that. There's going to be a lot of money to do all that. And I'm sure you are going to understand the importance of that. Now, you must be surprised why in FDP I'm bringing the word generate here or the research here. The reason is simple for me. From the day I have understood about FDPs, I would possibly say there are three types of FDPs which are generally available, which can be used. The one would be which will teach you pedagogy, which is very, very important. Madam was also referring to that. And you need to know how to teach well, how to take your people along with you, how to engage them, how to make use of the available resources, best use of the available resources. So pedagogy will come into play. And now pedagogy also requires technology and all that. So one on the pedagogy is very important. And as I said, it changed my life as a teacher once I learned a little bit about that initially in 1988. The second would be on the content. Content could be the subjects which you are teaching right now. Content could also be the subjects which you intend to develop and teach in future. Both can be done through these kind of courses. And you know the plethora of courses you learn today about data science or AI or ML or energy or environment or whatever that may be. Those are very important. Let me tell you that there is no engineering today without most of these elements or most of these topics which I have told you today. These are all integrated, and therefore you got to learn. So you learn contents, and that was the second thing. First pedagogy, second content. The main thing which you really require in terms of this is the research now. Now, many times you don't get research guidance very easily. Many times you don't know what are the research areas which are saturated or which are opening up. So there can be ATAL FDPs who can foray you into a certain research area or research domain or connect you with people or whatever it may be. And therefore, FDP is not only for teaching, learning itself, it's also for research. And that's an important thing. I'm sure you're taking advantage of that because a lot of industry experts are coming. A lot of people from other walks of life are coming to address you in the FDP and ask them questions pertaining to research. If they're taking a direction, why they're taking a direction. If they're taking a technology, which technology and why they are taking. I think research seeding can be a very nice thing. Otherwise, it's not very easy to get research guidance because of the time and other cost constraints which are there. Once again, the benefits which you will accrue from these, I'm saying mainly for teachers only. Once again, there are three major benefits which you will probably accrue from these kind of FDPs if you attend them well and ask questions and connect and do something further, not just attending it for a week or 4 or 5 days and then saying, okay, thank you. No, further follow it. So if you do that, then you can possibly say that one, you get connected with the world. Rest of the world knows that you work in this domain, this is your area, you get connected, and someday you get a chance to speak or become a partner and so on and so forth. The second thing possibly can be that the overall visibility that what is happening in the world, who's doing what, which institutions are the leaders, and what are the methods for doing certain things and all that. And the third thing is the diversity. Once again, you learn about diversity. To be confined to your field is good, but it will not be sufficient in the current world or the futuristic world. You need to know diverse things here and there. And once again, diverse and not only diverse, the diverse with state of the art. What is the state of the art of the new diversity also should be known to you. And those are some of the important things which are there. And so these are the three benefits you accrue, and please make sure that you encash it to the fullest. Same with the technology. If I go to the technology can also be beneficial. And once again, I can quote possibly 3 points here that technology is nothing but an enablement. Technology, second point could be that technology generally can be slave if you have mastered it. If you have practiced it, if you have understood it, it can be slave and it can do a lot of things for you. And why it can do a lot of things is because technology can be very easily repeatable, reproducible, reliable, and various other things which can be associated with the technology. So please understand all these aspects of our teaching learning domain or our faculty domain or AICT's domain, integrate them in a way in which you understand it and apply it. There are many aspects of industry institute interaction. There are many aspects of pedagogy. There was a point about the examination. So I would like to tell you one thing on teaching learning and one on examination. Teaching learning should be obviously be heavily choice based and multidisciplinary right now. And for that, CBCS is already on, but many of us have not implemented it fully. But more than CBCS, now it's ABC, which is now giving the control to the students themselves. And please understand that if we don't behave, if we don't change, if we don't improve, possibilities are that students will seize the control. That's the risk we run if we don't improve and change the teaching learning in a certain way. In the same fashion, I would like to advise you for examination. Gone are the days when we used to conduct the examination in a traditional way with 6 months notice, 3 days gap and all that. That has to disappear because that's not the way the world lives and the life happens. Whenever you get an exam or a question or a test from your senior, it happens based on the need of the that particular organization, and therefore that is an open book approach. They give you the problem, they want answer in 1 week or 1 day or 1 month, depends upon the problem, and they don't bother about the source, whether it's from your friends or net or books or journals or any other thing which you are doing innovative can be the source of information and the answer which is there. Therefore, make sure that the open book exposure to open book is done to all the students compulsorily. And let me tell you from my own exposure that it's a very tough form of examination if it is done properly. And please engage in that's this thing. And if possible, in the FDP itself, make sure that you have an open book examination system rather than just the simple questioning method of which is there. If you can give them one task, one problem, and one answer, which may be descriptive, that's more than enough to get the repository of the answers of a given set of FDP, which might be there. Rather than MCQs, which everyone does and possibly can do it, I would be more tempted to give them open book examinations. Say you have 50 people in your FDP and you give 25 problems or 20 problems or whatever, 10 problems, 5 each, and then you have 5 possible answers, and that becomes the repository. I think that will be a good solution to me. So when it comes to examination, there are more things which happens to the examination. Should be not only what we call written examination, can be spoken one also, can be very easy to judge. Examinations, you need not sit, you can stand and deliver because of technology. Examination should not have the barrier of languages. Once again, we should use the NLP and other things which are there, the power of languages now with technology to make sure that the languages are offered, and so on and so forth. And finally, like everything in the rest of our life, those who are attending FTBs have chosen to become part of FTP. In the same fashion, those who want to appear in examination at the end of the course, they should also be given a time frame, and therefore examination on demand. So there are many changes, my dear friends, which these technologies and NEP and pandemic put together is bringing. Fortunately for us, ATAL FDPs are all addressing such issues directly and indirectly. I've been attending many of them as a part of assessment and as a part of my own learning. I keep listening to some of them, and it's been very invigorating, very satisfying effort which is happening throughout the country. I'm sure it'll raise the knowledge base and the self-esteem of the teachers. I compliment and congratulate AICTE and its leadership for doing so. I also compliment all my fellow teachers and colleagues and institutional leaders for taking plunge in attempting and facilitating the FDPs. So I think there are many other things which are there. I can keep continuing, but won't like to do now. Hope we'll have more time on one-to-one basis, maybe in physical mode as well, and maybe more interactive mode as well. So with these few words, I'd like to conclude my address. Thank you so much once again for your patience, for your listening, and for this opportunity from the AICTE. Namaskar. Thank you.
And examination reforms and all other aspects of it. Now I would request my colleague and Deputy Director of ATAL Dattaji to propose formal vote of thanks.
Thank you so much, ma'am. A very warm good morning to all. We have been fortunate enough in AICTE to be motivated, guided by our visionary academic leader, Chairman AICTE, Professor Naldi Saspude sir, Vice Chairman, Professor MP Punyaji, and Member Secretary, Professor Raju Kumar sir. First of all, my sincere thanks to Almighty God for showering us His blessings and making today's event a grand success. My first and the foremost thanks to the chief guest, Professor Sandeep Sanchez, Vice Chancellor of Marwari University. And we have been fortunate, sir, that sir is associated with our AICTE ATAL activity as one of the reviewer. Sir, as you rightly said, the phase shift of focus, this 180-degree syllabi, the teacher, the adaptation of technology, learning, unlearning, and relearning. The significance of FDP, you have rightly mentioned, the dissemination of knowledge, accumulation, and the generation of knowledge is very important. Thank you so much, sir, for being with us today. Thank you so much. Our heartfelt thanks to today's special guest, Shri Ajit Abrahamji. He is a Director of Machine Intelligence Research Lab, USA. I'm one of the fortunate one from India as a fellow of the Machine Intelligence Research Lab. Sir, you have rightly said the advancement in the technological framework, the environment which has taken place, the significance of FDP, the collaborative approach of research and academic, and how to bridge the gap between the industry and the academia. Thank you so much, sir, for being with us. We are fortunate enough to be backed up by the team of our AICTE ATAL, a very dedicated and the motivated team leader of AICTE ATAL. My sincere thanks to our team leader, passionate academic leader, Dr. Mamta Rani Agrawal ji, Advisor 1 ATAL. My special gratitude to the regional officers, my own ATAL team, my assistant director at ATAL Academy, Dr. Garg, and the entire team. Our sincere thanks to all coordinators, participants for witnessing this auspicious occasion. With the permission of the Chief Guest, sir, we are concluding here the inaugural ceremony. Thank you so much. Have a great day ahead. Thank you.
We may now conclude the ceremony. All the very best. Thank you so very much. Have a very pleasant day.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Agrawal, Dr. Datta. Thank you, everyone. All the best.